Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along then to the start of what is promising to be an absolutely fantastic 2014 World Sport Series. We've got new cars, and we've got one slight rule change. But is that going to diminish the action? I certainly think not. We've had one of the closest free practice sessions in WSS history. The grid is looking absolutely amazing. Ruud Heesterbeek for Adonis Engineering has taken pole. We've seen the return of Torrent doing fantastically in qualifying. We've seen the return of 2013 Teams Championships winners, Midnight Motorsport, not doing so well. Across the space of this 10-round championship, though, there's certainly a lot of chopping and changing that is sure to happen. My name is James Kirk, and I'm going to be taking you through all the action here tonight, hopefully. We've been having a couple of broadcast issues, so we're hoping to come to you live for the entirety of this event. Of course, if there's a bit of issues and whatnot, we'll try the best to cover as much of this first round as possible. So, if you haven't noticed, we are here at the Sakir International Circuit in Bahrain, and we're going to be having two races, just like last year, of 12 laps. Of course, this is the debut of Bahrain in WSS, but we've got two races, same format as last year. What's different to this year, however, in terms of rule changes, is the introduction of weight penalties, much like the International Touring Cup. So, for this first race, everyone's free, no weight at all, but the top 5 in this race will receive weight penalties of 45 kilograms for the winner of the race, all the way down to 9 kilograms for 5th. We're also going to have the reverse 15 to 20 grid, which we saw last year. Of course, some excellent races and really did mix up the field. And with these weight penalties added as well, it's sure to add just that little bit of extra spice. And before you ask, yes indeed, the top 5 in the championship will carry those weight penalties into each race one that we have throughout the season. So that's the first change. Second big change, of course, is the car. We've used the same Porsche mod for 2012 and 2013, and for this year we are changing to the much acclaimed Flat 6 Enduracers mod. Really lovely sounding cars, and the setup's quite closed, potentially more closed than last year actually, which is perhaps why we've seen such close times. And to give you an idea of how close they were, so over the 2 weeks which guys have had to prepare their seasons, prepare their cars for Bahrain, the top 26 drivers, whether they were participating today or not, were within 1.5 seconds. That's extraordinary considering the caliber of some of these drivers. We've got the likes of Jesper Tolborg, Ruud Heesterbeek, Chris Butcher, Sven de Vries, Petter Kasa, Agustin Canapino, loads of fantastic drivers. And to see them all within such a small gap of time really does give a testament to just how competitive this WSS season may be, and we certainly hope it will be that way. So, we've got about 5 minutes, I think, of warm-up. Oh no, sorry, we've got 2 minutes and 30 seconds until we begin race 1. The grid for race 1, of course, we've got Ruud on pole position, then we've got Chris Butcher, P2 for Aurora, Jesper Tolborg, P3 for Smile. He's one of the championship favourites, well known over at TPS, and did very well in this mod, particularly in their equivalent of the WSS. Got Jordan Weeks, P4, won one race last year, was always there or thereabouts, and it looks like he's going to be in roughly the same position this year as well. And got Sven de Vries for Adonis Engineering, P5, Petter Kasa, the return of Torrent Motorsports. Can they regain their crown? He's in P6, and then we've got an Enterprise GP row, Matt Allington out qualifying Agustin Canapino. Must be said, a great effort by Matthew Allington. That's his fastest lap he's done at the Bahrain circuit in qualifying. Brilliant effort from him to do that. Then we've got Mike Bell, P9, who's in for Ice Cold Racing, who were looking very good with the likes of Eric Strana and Eric Tveit in the car. Both of those drivers have pulled out now, so they might be in a bit of trouble there. Or is it Ice Cold? It might not be Ice Cold. I do apologise if I've got that wrong. No, it's Mia Zurich Racing. P9 for Mia Zurich Racing is Mike Bell. So driving for the same team he does in Super Cup, of course. And then we've got the return of Ryan Walker. So good to see Ryan back after leaving the Super Cup Championship due to other commitments and whatnot. Definitely one to look out for in Tin Tops. And the fact he's come back into the GPVWC field arguably stronger than ever now with loads of new drivers joining. To put it in P10 is a great effort, and for Waters Automotive as well, who's a team you don't usually associate with frontrunners, that's certainly going to give them a good boost. Right, so we should be almost time, or should almost be time to start race 1 here. And it's a shame I don't have a co-commentator here. I could ask who they think is going to win this race. But for me personally, I'm looking at the championship, and really, I do fancy Adonis Engineering or Torrent Motorsports to take this thing. Torrent Motorsports purely because their team's slightly weird. They've got Jordan Weeks coming over from FA Racing. FA Racing not actually taking part in this season, it must be said. He's there full time. Then they've got a mix between Petter Karsa and Martin Palm, both very capable drivers. And if you remember World Sports Series last year, Petter Karsa was a very, very, very fast driver. And to be brutally honest, won pretty much. I think he won half the races he took part in, even though he only took part in 4. Of course, Adonis Engineering, Ruud Heesterbeek and Sven de Vries. We saw Sven turn up late on in the WSS last year, made a good impact, even won a race on his debut. And Ruud Heesterbeek, well, if you've seen Ruud Heesterbeek in Super League or ITC, you'll know how good a driver he is. And I really think we're going to see a strong challenge from him just to show what he can do in tin tops. So the drivers make their way onto the grid now. And we are off on our formation lap. First one of the year. It's Ruud Heesterbeek, the Dutch driver for Adonis Engineering, who leads us off. Then we've got Chris Butcher, P2 for Aurora Motorsports. And then we have Jesper Tolberg, P3 for Smile Power Racing, followed up by Jordan Weeks, P4 for Torrent. Then as Sven de Vries, Ruud's teammate, P5 for Adonis, with Petter Karsa, P6 for Torrent Motorsports. We then have an Enterprise GP, row 4, consisting of Matthew Allington out-qualifying Augustin Canapino. Row 5 is occupied by Mike Bell for Mia Zurich Racing, and is ended by Ryan Walker, coming back to GPVWC for the first time since Super Cup, I believe. He is driving for Waters Automotive. A very disappointing qualifying for Midnight Motorsport. Current teams champions from 2013. Tom Parker is their lead driver here at Bahrain in P11, with Bart de Vos coming back after driving for Intermission for a short time last year. He comes back with his own team, Triple 20 in P12. Alex Cooper, who came second last year in the drivers, only starts P13 for Midnight. Just shows what a difference a year can make, I guess. Fran Lopez is then P14 for Ice Cold Racing, followed up by Riku Sarpia for Mia Zurich. David Junt starts P16 for Smile Power, followed up by Benedictus Sinkevicius for Waters Automotive. Gary Lennon starts P18 for Aurora Motorsports, with Ben Warren P19 for Woods. And Ilya Bracalo, Bardavos' teammate, starts P20 for Triple 20. Oh, that's quite nice. Well, nice coincidence there. Roy Stroton starts P21 for Woods Racing, with Menno Klont making his debut for the team of Lusitania Racing Team. Then have Paul Watkins, the old man himself, P23 for TWR, and Pedro Gomez is P24 for Racing Team Stroton. Dimitri Demulmeister debuts Deltec Racing Team, and welcome back, Dimitri, by the way, haven't seen you in a while. And then Paul Joseph has joined Paul Watkins at TWR, he'll be starting P26. Rob Mason debuts Cosmo Autosport, finally into a series. We can't wait to see what they can do there in P27. And actually a terrible start for Drake Racing, who are sponsored by Vodball Motorsports for the WS season. Ben Horrell only P28. Then we've got Cameron Brewster, P29 for Cosmo, with Ascari Kantonen, P30 for Drake, so it should be a nice inter-team battle there. Quinton Plain is P31 for TTF, with Jonathan Prevost and Lewis Polden, 32 and 33rd for SGP, another new team. Marius Van Wyck, the South African, is P34 for Deltec, with Kyle Williams, P35 for Motorsport Safety Foundation. Him and his teammate, Simon Melhuish, didn't actually qualify, which is a shame because they were looking really strong. Oh, is that someone who's... Someone's had a crash, and I think that was possibly Marius Van Wyck. Yes, it was. He's missing a front. He's missing a front bumper. That's terrible. Then we've got Victor Silversoy, P38 for Lusitania, and the grid is rounded out by Tyrone Frith, who's P38. Sorry for TTF. We're missing 2 cars. But what a terrible start for Marius Van Wyck and someone else. I think that's Lewis Polden. They just had a coming together on the formation lap, which is never a good thing. And considering these two are new drivers, I guess it might be expected, but still, you don't want this sort of thing at the start of the season. So, let's get this WSS season underway then, shall we? Ruud Heasterbeek lining up from Chris Butcher for Aurora. I've put my money on Adonis to put their mark on this championship. Will they prove me right? And is that someone who's disappeared? Mike Bell. Okay, Mike Bell starting from the pit lane as well. So he's had a bit of issue as well. Here we go, though. The lights come on now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights here in the WSS season. We are underway, and it's a decent start by Ruud Heasterbeek. It's going to be interesting to see how everyone reacts to these starts. First time probably in the car. Chris Butcher, though, falls in behind Ruud Heasterbeek. Good start from Jordan Weeks up to P4. Augustine Canopino. Oh, massive crash in the back. Massive crash in the midfield there. I can see front bumpers and doors everywhere. And God, who's in grief there? It must have been about 5 drivers or something. Lewis Polden officially DNS from this race after starting from the pit lane. And oh, there's still carnage going on at turn 1. That's an awful, awful start for a lot of those drivers. But nevertheless, it's Chris. Oh, where's Ruud Heasterbeek gone? Ruud Heasterbeek was just absolutely swamped there, and we didn't even notice it. He's down to P3. Chris Butcher leads then for Aurora Motorsports. Jordan Weeks second for Torrent. Ruud third for Adonis. Jesper fourth for Smile Power. Augustine Canopino, good start for him. He's up into P5. Petter Carson, P6 for Torrent. Tom Parker, P7. Matthew Allington, PA. Ryan Walker into P9. And there's a massive, about 3-way battle for P10 between David Yunt, Alex Cooper, and Fran Lopez. Good start by Fran, actually. Cameron Brewster up into P13. He's having a laugh. What a great start from the Englishman here to make his debut with his first team apart from TSA Racing, if I'm correct. Bart the Boss is P14 and Riku Sarpia is in P15 there, albeit missing his front bumper. But there is so many people missing their front bumpers. I wonder whether that'll make even a slight difference. Up at the front, though, Chris Butcher is absolutely streaming away in P1. He's currently 1.9 seconds, sorry, ahead of Jordan Weeks, who has Ruud Heasterbeek for company. I see Matthew Allington there is getting a bit swamped. He's down to P10 after being overtaken by David Junt and Ryan Walker. And apart from that, the rest of the top team seems quite quaint at the moment. But there we go. That was an action-packed lap 1, wasn't it? Nevertheless, it is Chris Butcher for Aurora Motorsports making his mark. Oh, that's someone round. That's Fran Lopez round, I believe, in P13. But Chris Butcher leads by 2 seconds from Jordan Weeks, who's going to be overtaken here by Ruud Heasterbeek. Ruud, really known for his actually higher... Well, I think he's got a lower downforce setup, actually, more like, after his setups were found to be a bit lacking on the straight line speed in Super League. But he can't get anything done, surprisingly, on Jordan Weeks, and he's holding it nicely as a new Torrent driver. You've got Jesper Tolberg, who might be able to capitalise on Ruud Heasterbeek here. Into turn 4. No, he's not going to be able to make a move. Augustin Canopino, debut here in the WSS. He's making a strong start here in P5. And then we've got a nice battle between Tom Parker and Petter Carson. Petter's actually been quite swamped, it must be said. And kudos to Tom Parker, who's been able to get up into P6. A good start for the Englishman. And then we've got a nice little 3-way battle here. We've got Ryan Walker, David Johnson, Matthew Allington. They've really, really been able to lose P11, and that's because P11's changed massively because Cameron Brewster is up into that position. He's being harried by Bart DeVos here for Triple 20. The Triple 20 guys actually have had a really good start, and you can see already. Look on the inside left of Bart DeVos's car there. He is missing a chunk of that bumper for sure, and he's going to have to buff it out later. He got a better launch off of turn 10 for sure, and I wonder whether he's going to make a move into P2. You can see in the background Bart DeVos has lost his front bumper there as well. Cameron Brewster's straight line speed though certainly doing him well, or is it going to do him well? He outbrakes himself into turn 11, and Bart DeVos is going to go up the inside here. He's marginally ahead, but he's going to be on the outside now. Can he get it around the outside? We've seen a couple of drivers do it before in the career ladder. He's going to still have to go around the outside heading into turn 13. Oh, he still can't get it done. And oh, we actually have a change up front. We'll leave these guys battling because Ruud Heasterbeek has just overtaken Jordan Weeks into the final corner here. And Jordan tried to steam back through, but really positioned himself badly on the curb. So Ruud Heasterbeek is up into P2 for Adonis Engineering. We'll keep with him on the straight here because, of course, you can get a massive, massive slipstream here. Huge, huge straight. And here we've got Waters Automotive. I hope he stays out of the way. Going into turn 1, though, he's not going to... Oh, he's not going to stay out of the way. Awful back marking there. And what that has done is that's really Constantina up Jesper Torborg and indeed Agustin Canapino onto the back. And look at Jesper Torborg. Because of that Waters Automotive, he is now really pressuring Jordan Weeks, and indeed they're side by side going into turn 4. Jordan on the outside line, able to hold it really nicely, and Agustin Canapino is going to try and take advantage of that mistake from Jesper. Nothing doing though into this fast section here, and well, we say it's fast. Remember, in these Porsches, they've got nothing like the downforce of the single-seater cars. And oh, God, Canapino really hanging out on the edge. Oh, sorry to go for a bit of a ball drop there, but Jordan Weeks just cutting across Jesper Torborg as if to say, nope, my position, stay away. And what this is doing, of course, is letting Ruud Heasterbeek escape up into the distance. But I tell you what, oh, that was a bit of a clip on the curb for Jordan Weeks, and that's going to really disadvantage him going into what is turn 12. And we'll see whether Jesper can do anything. He's in the slipstream. He pulls out now. Agustin Canapino tries to have a look, but he's going to have to stay behind. Oh, is he going to dive through as well? Jesper Torberg's able to dive through, and Agustin Canapino, he leans, and he's through as well. There was a bit of touring car rubbing his race in there. But Agustin Canapino is through, and in the space of one corner, Jordan Weeks loses. He's going to go back through on Agustin Canapino, though, as well. And, oh, dear me, there's a car losing his front and rear bumper there. Rear wing gone, front bumper gone. Looks like a Waters. And if that's a Waters, who is that? Gosh. I'm guessing that's Benedictus Sincubitius, unfortunately. But yeah, Weeks takes back the position from Canapino. And here we go, going on to lap 4 of 12. We're already a third through this race. Chris Butcher, he had extended his lead to 3.9 seconds. It's come back to 3.7. Jesper Torberg third, Jordan Weeks fourth, Agustin Canapino fifth, Tom Parker sixth, Petter Carser seventh, Ryan Walker eighth, David Junt ninth, and Matthew Allington 10th. They're all still in a battle, and if anything, Petter Carser's fallen back into the grips of this battle for the bottom of the top 10. So plenty still to be decided from these top 10 drivers. Let's go through the DNFs so far. Lewis Polder now, of course. Sven de Vries, one of the guys in the top 10, out after blowing his engine unbelievably, and that's something which should be said about these cars. Their engine do not last well if you downshift them too aggressively, and Sven, the American, unfortunately the first one to find that out. Menno Klont for Lusitania also is out because of an engine failure. Oh, it's like F1 2014, isn't it, Dave? That's how exciting. And, well, it just shows. I mean, these are real drivers' cars. The setup is limited. You can only do so much with it. And, of course, if you throw it about like anyone's business, then you will potentially suffer quite a lot. Must be said, the gap back from Matthew Allington is rather large, actually. Matthew Allington 9.4 seconds off the lead. Cameron Brewster 13.6 seconds off the lead. Behind him, he's got the two 2020s, both missing their front bumpers, and behind him is absolute madness going on here. We've got Fran Lopez, Rob Mason, Riku Sarpia, Jonathan Prevost, Alex Cooper there in P18. What an awful start to the season for P2 last year. Victor Silva, P19, Simon Melhurst, P20, Kai Williams, P21. Remember, these guys didn't qualify. They've got all their parts on, so they may yet get more points throughout this race. And also remember, we've got the top 15 to 20 reverse grid still to come. So, of course, these guys who have stayed out of trouble, or have at least tried to stay out of trouble, could very well benefit later on in race 2, and especially with the grid, the weight penalties as well. I mean, that we're expecting the leaders to lose about 1 second per lap with the maximum weight penalty. So it's a new rule change, one of the only rule changes for this year, and it could provide some fantastic entertainment and potentially some new winners as well next year. I see a bit of battling. Yes, Matthew Allington's just got past Ryan Walker into turn 1 there. The battle from P8 to P10 still raging on. David Junt started in P16, I think, and must be said, he's not exactly a qualifier. I think he's more of a racer, and that really shows he's been able to stay out of trouble, and he's getting good points for this as well. Smile looking very, very strong along with Torrent Motorsports through race 1 so far, but don't count out Ryan. Very competent driver, and heading here into this tight right-hand hairpin. Matthew Allington actually defends very nicely, but if Ryan gets a better exit, he could find himself on the outside, and we've seen a few moves into turn 10 around the outside. Matthew Allington holds the inside line, And Ryan Walker's not able to get the putt back, so Matthew Allington secures P9 for the moment. Let's see what's going on throughout the rest of the field. Things have really split up, I think, after all the matters. So let's have a look at one of our supposed championship protagonists in a real bit of bother here. P17, Jonathan Prevost, on his debut here in GPVWC, I believe. P17 for SGP. Behind him, Alex Cooper, Victor Silva, Simon Melhuish, and Kyle Williams. The two cars that look relatively undamaged out of this lot, all within 1 second of each other. Oh, that's Ryan Walker falling down the order. What on earth happened to him there? Let's see, he was behind Matthew Allington. He tried to go on the outside of turn 12 or 13. Oh, he just lost it under his own accord. So he must have had a pretty low rear wing, and that has left him down in P14 under attack from Rob Mason, I believe. Yeah, it is Rob Mason. Well, he's not under attack from Rob Mason. We've got a couple of lap cars in between there. But Rob Mason, on his debut, looking to score a point for Cosmo Autosport. That would make Mr. Joshua Anderson very, very happy indeed. And what that means is, well, we say that's going to make him happy to get 1 point. Cameron Brewster, his other driver, he's up into P10. That's 6 points. And that'll make him a very, very happy young man indeed. No more retirements to tell you of so far, but the gap at the front, I believe, is holding steady actually at about 4 seconds. We're halfway through this race on lap 6 currently, so there's still plenty of opportunity for tyres to go off and whatnot. Torberg still holds third, with Weeks still fourth, and Canapino has actually really fallen off the back of Jordan Weeks in recent laps, and he's got Tom Parker there in P6 about to pounce. Though remember, Canapino currently holds the last position to get a weight penalty for the reverse grid, and ultimately by moving down you're going to be further up the grid in race 2 as well. So you must wonder what's running through Tom Parker's mind at the moment. You know, does he really want to overtake Canapino for the extra point that it will give him in the championship, or is he going to hold back and take the no weight penalty and further up the grid slot? Petcastle is P7 with David Junt in 8th, and Matthew Allington and not Cameron Brewster. Matthew Allington's all safe. He's battling with a back marker at the moment, who I hope doesn't get involved too much. Let's see, I think that's either going to be Cantonen or Horrell, because of it's going to be Horrell, driver for Drag Racing, and no doubt he'll want to try and bring his way back up the field. Let's have a little look here. P11 and P12 is really... Okay, it's more than P11 and P12, actually. P11, 12, 13, and 14, indeed. Crucial positions. This is going to be the real sharp end of the grid, you'd imagine, for the reverse grid. And there goes Fran Lopez for ice cold. He dives through into P12, overtaking Ilya Bracalo for triple 20. These guys, this is 5, 4, 3, and 2 points down the order. And they're all looking pretty close together, it must be said. Bart DeVos just about keeping ahead of this gaggle. And Bracalo is always on the grass! Stay off of that, Ilya! Oh my word, I don't know how on earth he got that stop to time, and a bit of a clip from Ryan Walker behind, but how on earth Ilya Bracalo got that stopped on the grass is insane, considering how dodgy these cars are on the brakes as well. Ultimately, no one came off with a good amount of damage, which is what we like to see. And I imagine this battle's going to just keep on going. I mean, they're just going at it hammer and tong, these guys, and even the guys at the back. We've got, let's see, all P27 all the way down to P35 have been lapped now, but they're all still going, bless them. And there we go. Got another retirement in the form of Jonathan Prevost. A real shame, he was doing well there in the midst of the reverse grid pole section. But he has retired from this race, and I think that was a disconnection more than anything, unfortunately. So a real shame to see the technical failures of the sim racing world happen, but they do happen, unfortunately. Back up at the front, Ruud Heasterbeek is really starting to make a dent on Chris Butcher's lead here. The gap was 4.2 seconds. It went down to 4 seconds. It is now down to 3.6 seconds. And one would imagine that potentially Chris's tyres may be going off at this rate. We'll see what the gap is as they cross the line. It certainly looks closer than what it was. And let's see, Ruud's going to cross the line Now, and that is coming down at quite a rate of 3.4 seconds to gap. So we may yet see a battle for the leads again if Ruud gets his oven gloves on and starts cooking. Jesper Torberg and Weeks are really in their own area. And oh, here we go. Tom Parker is on the outside of Agustin Canapino. Oh, a bit of contact there. Not really sure what either driver could do. It was just such a tight corner that there was evidently going to be a clash. Now, Canapino stays for the moment, though. I think we know what Parker's intents are for now. He wants that P5 despite the 9 kilogram penalty for race 2. And we're only on lap 8 of 12 here. I imagine that he could very well get that in the next couple of laps if he's on it. We'll keep with this battle for now. Just purely for the fact that there are other close battles, but this is definitely the highest one where we have good points involved. Agustin Canapino currently in P5, that's 11 points. Tom Parker in 6, 10 points. And of course Parker, currently the only midnight driver in the points full stop, we must remember. So not a great start to the season for our team's champions at all, though Cooper is in that section where he could get reverse grid pole, as are both the Motorsport Safety Foundation cars. So we've got some fast drivers in there, which could spring a apparent surprise if you're not sure with or who's on the pace and whatnot in the WSS this season. Oh no, Cameron Brewster, he's fallen out of the top 10. He's lost it to Fran Lopez, and he's gotten him really enveloped into this battle here with Bart the Boss, Ryan Walker, Ilya Bracalo in there as well. And must be said, actually, Fran Lopez doing an excellent job here. Was brought in at very late notice, given that Strana and Devite both left the championship. Said they weren't going to do it. I think it was maybe a day ago or so. He's only had a day to practice, and he's currently looking at a top 10 on debut here in the WSS. So good job from the young Spaniard, only 14 or 15 years old, Fran is. And plenty of potential to see yet from the Spaniard. But yes, we shall come away from that now. I see actually Canapino's pulled away from Parker that lap. Who hasn't pulled away is Chris Butcher. That gap has come down to 3.2 seconds. That's only a tenth though this lap. So perhaps Butcher has seen that his rival is closing in and has started to up the pressure. Maybe he was just coasting a bit, trying to preserve the tyres more than anything. I think perhaps it is a good idea to keep it. Oh no! P10. P10, let's look at P10. Fran Lopez was looking very dodgy coming out of turn 2, and he got an appropriate shove up the bum from Cameron Brewster. He really couldn't go anywhere. He was accelerating out the corner, and Fran Lopez just spun up his wheels a bit too much. But this battle from P10 all the way down to P13, I think Ilya Bracalo's fallen off a bit now because of his front wing, or because of his front bumper being lost. He's really close. And look at Bart DeVos. Look how much he closes up in this sector here. I reckon he's got a lower wing setup because he is, a higher wing setup I should say rather, more downforce, because he is really latching onto the back of Cameron Brewster, as is Ryan Walker. And I think Ryan Walker potentially is being hindered by the fact that he doesn't really want to overtake these guys. I mean, he's been in a bit of trouble before. He was there because of his own making, pretty much. And oh yeah, you can see then, who's that round? Is that Alex Cooper being lapped? Oh, that is. Oh no, it's not, sorry, it's one of the Dell Techs, I believe. Oh, God, that would have been embarrassing if Cooper was being lapped at this rate. And oh, no! Oh, Bart DeVos just lost it under braking there, and down the order you go, sir. Where is he going to end up? Oh, you can see how much the gap was. Here comes Riku Sarpia, currently in P15. P14 is going to be his, but Bart DeVos, despite that, just lost the rear brakes into turn 11 there. But he's still got a point. And he could very well be in reverse grid pole position here, could the Belgian. But that means that Ryan Walker moves up into P12, Ilya Bracalo into P13, and it must be said that Cameron Brewster was a very, very lucky bunny there. That could have ended in absolute tears, but good avoiding action was taken, and thankfully no one was harmed. 3.1 seconds the gap at the front now, so still coming down, though only a tenth per lap. We're on lap 10 of 12 here. That is not going to be enough, Ruud Heasterbeek, for you to be able to secure any more points. What is going to be securing more points, however, is potentially Jordan Weeks there in P4. He has really latched onto the back here of Jesper Torberg in recent laps, and he's only 2 tenths behind the Dane here. And I certainly hope this doesn't end in tears. Jordan Weeks was the fastest behind Petakasa in the open practice session. Jesper Torborg was there or thereabouts. Definitely in the top 10. Behind, you can see on the straight there, Canapino still ahead of Parker. So that battle has yet to be resolved as well. But Torborg defending nicely into P11, into turn 11. Sorry, Jordan Weeks not really making much of a move there. And you must say, I mean, especially as a team manager, as a driver, you've really got to be conscious of what you are doing here. Because just to give you an example, the gap between P3 and P4 in terms of weight penalty is 9 kilograms. And you may not think 9 kilograms is enough, but believe me, as it keeps building up, the effect starts to concertina, go... Well, no, I should say it starts to extend. That's the word. Extend. And really, as I say, those guys with 45 kilogram penalties in the races are looking to lose a second of their potential best lap. So I'd imagine, let's say P3 27, about half. Jesper Torborg, I'm guessing, would be looking to lose about 5/10. And believe me, 5/10 in this closer field, huge difference. You could just looking at the battle between P10 and P14, you could see how close they all were. And 5/10 could mean the difference between potentially 5 positions even. And that could really damage even a championship leader's chances of scoring some much needed points in their charge. And actually, talking of championship charges, it seems that Chris Butcher has decided to get a wriggle on, because he is now extending the gap to Ruud Heasterbeek here on the penultimate lap of race 1 here in Bahrain. The gap up to 3.5, so unless Chris Butcher makes a serious mistake in the next lap and a half, I would say that Aurora Motorsports may have a very good start to the season. And parties planned all night. I know Lewis will be very happy with that. Canapino's been able to drag out the gap now a bit to Parker, and I imagine he may just be able to hold that. Petakasa not being able to make much more of a indent on this gap, actually, in the last few laps. Derry Junt, he's managed to pull out about 6 seconds on Matthew Allington in the last few laps that we've seen him, but Matthew Allington is he's got 6 seconds in front of him, he's got 7 seconds behind him as well. And the guy who was perhaps Mr. Inconsistency last year, fantastically fast, always qualifying up the front, but never really showing his full potential, really is doing well here today, and kudos to Matt for being able to hold it in P9. Also kudos to Fran Lopez, P10 on debut here in the WSS, and especially with so little time to practice is really good for the Spaniard. We've got Ryan Walker now in lots of clean air in P11. We've got Ilya Bracalo, and oh, Cameron Brewster, no! Oh, thankfully he saved it, kept it out the wall, but he's going to be over. Oh, he's going to try and defend the corner from a back marker. That's no worry. So Ilya Bracalo up into P12. Cameron Brewster still scoring points for Cosmo in P13. Joshua, you can still keep your pants on, good sir. He is still there. Bardavos P14 and Riku Sub-P at P15 could very well find himself on pole position, but not if Rob Mason has anything to do about it. He is still there. He still wants that point. He is hungry. And we could still see a shift around the order there. Carl Williams, P17. Simon Melhish, P18. Victor Silva, P19. And Alex Cooper has only fallen back with his damage. He's P20, just about hanging on to the reverse grid pole position potentiality slot there. If you want to call it potentiality, what sort of word is that, James? Either way, oh, look how banged up his car is as well. It's a sorry sight for sore eyes. I mean, oh, Victor Silva. There he goes wide, and Alex Cooper, good time to cut to him, actually. He's taken P19, so he's a bit better off than he was a lap ago. The gap at the front, though, is still going up. 3.7 is the gap now. Canapino and Parker, they're still close. Let's perhaps focus on this battle, see whether Canapino can hold off Parker on this last lap of the race here. The gap is about 5 seconds. Parker's going to be in the slipstream. The question is this slipstream gonna be enough? It usually isn't unless you've got a seriously lower downforce car than your rival, and it seems that Parker isn't able to do that. Perhaps he may be happy with Canapino just taking the weight penalty and the extra point for next race. Coming into the penultimate turn now, Canapino locks up, but he's got that nice and sorted, and here we go, coming around the final corner then. Aurora Motorsports, oh rah rah rah. Celebrate all night long, good sirs. You have taken race 1 of the season. Chris Butcher takes it from Ruud Heesterbeek. Pole position and second place switched around. Jesper Torborg on the podium. P3 and Jordan Weeks in about the same position he really was last year. P4, Agustin Canapino does hold on to P5 for Enterprise GP, with Tom Parker P6, the first of the non-weight penalties. Patakasa P7 for Torrent, with David Junt P8 for Smile Power. Just coming across the line now, Matthew Allington P9 for Enterprise GP, and Fran Lopez, what a great drive from him. P10 for the Ice Cold Racing driver. Ryan Walker P11 on his return to GPVWC for Waters. Ilya Bracalo, P12 for Triple 20. Cameron Brewster scores Cosmo's first ever points in their first race. That's going to be an excellent result for Josh and his team there. Bart DeVos, P14. And Riku Sarpia, he will start off the guys who are in contention for reverse grid pole. Carl Williams is there. Rob Mason for Cosmos there. Simon Melhewish from Motorsport Safety Foundation is there. Alex Cooper for Midnight is there. And Victor Silva for Lusitania on their debut here is also there. So, what an exciting first race of the season that was. Action everywhere. A huge... I think there were two huge crashes. First of all on the start line, and indeed on the formation lap, and indeed into turn 1. So I would not be surprised if there are going to be a couple of of protests there. But of course, that is for the stewards to decide. There was no restart because there simply weren't enough retirements. And going through those retirements, it was Lewis Polden who pulled in. It was a disconnection for him. Sven de Vries blew his engine. Menno Klont blew his engine. Jonathan Prevost disconnected. And Benedictus Sinkubicius gave it up after losing his front bumper and rear wing. We saw him on the... Oh, pardon me. Last straight before the home straight. So, what a fantastic race that was. Really, really good and exciting way to get our season off to a start. And now, of course, we have the excitement of reverse grid, 15 to 20 cars, and, of course, the weight penalty. So, Chris Butcher's going to have 45 kilograms worth of weight penalty. Ruud Heesterbeek will have 36 kilograms. Jesper Torborg will have 27. Jordan Weeks will have 18, and Agustin Canapino will have 9 kilograms. So then I'm just going to wait for our lovely server to load before I exit out. I don't want to crash my own PC. That would be an absolute disaster, that would be. As we said, we've been having a couple of server issues. Poor old Lewis Polden was struggling with his connection all throughout free practice, all throughout qualifying. And unfortunately, it saw him disconnect, and I think he pulled in because of contact with one of the Deltecs. I think he might have been Marius Van Wyck. But, well, these things happen, don't they? And as I say, the stewards will ultimately decide whether someone gets a grid penalty or not. We certainly saw our fair share of penalties in WSS last year. I remember... the post-race penalties from Spa, it was insane. We had a number of people cutting white lines, and that saw a number of time penalties. I think Sven de Vries was potentially half to cause for that first corner incident. It seems that he blew his engine into the first corner, and of course, people were flying left. He says that people were flying left and right of me, so potentially there was nothing he could do. Which is a shame for the American because he was looking really good actually going into this round and into the championship overall. So, let's get our boogie on with the reverse grid number. In Super Cup, with which I also commentate on, nice plug out, I'll now shout out to Super Cup, we've had either the absolute minimum reverse grid or the absolute maximum reverse grid. We've had nothing in the middle. So let's see what we get for our first race or for our first one in the WSS. And the reverse grid number is... number 16. So we have one in the middle, number 16, and so that means that Kyle Williams for Motorsport Safety Foundation will be on pole position with Riku Sarpia alongside him on the front row. So no luck for Alex Cooper, unfortunately. He couldn't really do much after getting involved in that. I think Ben Warren might have hit Alex Cooper because he's saying he had nowhere to go. So no luck for Alex Cooper at all. But P16, is pretty much the second best thing the guys at the front could have wanted. The only better thing would have been if Rico Sarpia in P15 would have been on pole. So just to give you a perspective, of course, Chris Butcher won the race with 45 kilograms of penalties. Will now start in P16 with Ruud Heasterbeek in P15 alongside him, and that's just certainly make for an interesting row. And we've got to remember as well, of course, I went over the problem of these are brand new cars to GPVWC, and we didn't really know what a start in them would be like. Thankfully, it didn't seem that bad up until the first corner. We've seen a couple of straight incidents in other series anyway. But I do wonder what the reverse grid is going to do, because there is definitely going to be a slight speed differential, especially from the guys with the weight penalties, of course. Will they be slower off the line? Will they be quicker off the line? You know, will their weight hunker them into the ground and give them a better start? I can't tell you the answer, because I've not seen these flat sixes in a race situation before. And especially with this grid as well. So many new drivers coming in, and so many experienced drivers coming in, of course. Right, so we've got 3 minutes until the race. And I'm just trying to think of who was fast in that reverse grid. I think we might have someone from potentially P5 or downwards winning this race. Honestly, I know nothing. I'm only the commentator. We just don't know, and I think that's what's just so exciting about the WSS, and what, you know, small tweaks, which have made it just a little bit more exciting. And although, well, I think the major thing we will hope for from this next race is that we don't have as many incidents. At least we had pretty much a third of the field all lapped by the end of it, and of course that's pretty demoralising for any driver to get lapped in such a short race as well, 12 laps. So perhaps we should go through the calendar while we are still here. So like last year, we pretty much follow the career ladder around, with the week after the career ladder and nothing else. We have a summer break in August, and the calendar goes like this. We've got Bahrain in 2 weeks' time. We have the circuit to Catalonia, Barcelona. We have the return of the Canadian Sports Series as round 3. We've got the Austrian Sports Series, our debut round last year, now moved to round 5. We return to Silverstone. I'm not sure whether we're using the shortened circuit like last year or the full circuit, but we're going to return there. We've got the Hockenheimring, the first ever time we've used the WSS there. The return of the Hungaroring, the return of Spa, and then we end our season on the 3rd of September at Monza. Really, I remember it vividly last year. It was a fantastic battle between Hardwick and Wyatt Gooden, very much like the speed in Super Cup. And it was really, really, really good battling there in the WSS last year. And I'm really happy that that round in particular has been given the finale spot. So Bahrain is your only new race for this year, so enjoy it while you can. Because I think that we've been deciding to stay more with the old in terms of rule changes and calendar changes and everything. It's nice to spice it up with returning races and one new race. But obviously, coming back from a new year, it's interesting to see how faster or slower these cars are going to be around certain tracks. 60 seconds until the race. And if you have any questions that you would like to ask either the top 3 drivers who are coming in for interviews hopefully after this race, then please feel free to tweet at GPVWC or at KirkyLife, hashtag WSS, hashtag GPVWC, hashtag GPVWCWSS, if you fancy your acronym hashtags, with your question, and we will ask them. Hell, if you want to ask me a question, you're more than welcome to. We'll have a little bit of time in between the end of the races and the interviews. So hopefully, do get tweeting, because we do enjoy user interaction here at GPVWC every time. It is always a bonus to get you guys involved. Right then, so here we go. First reverse grid of the year. First weight penalties of the year. Who will win? Nobody knows. Now I can see who is actually where. I'm going to take a punt and say Ryan Walker. Because Ryan was looking very strong. Was in the top 10 in open practice. And indeed in free practice. And in qualifying. And I think that he could definitely put a win on the cards for Waters here. If things go his way, of course, for the Scotsman. It's not him on pole position, though. It's Kyle Williams for Motorsport Safety Foundation. A disappointing race 1. They do actually have the potential to win in race 2 if their pace in open practice is to be believed. The question is, can this be believed in race pace? And I've not seen anything to suggest that, unfortunately. Riku Sarpia starts P2 for Mia Zurich Racing, with Bart the Boss P3 for Triple 20. We then have Cameron Brewster in the lefty positions of P4 for Cosmo Autosport, and behind him is Ilya Bracalo, P5 for Triple 20. Brian Walker, my tip for the race, is P6 for Waters with Fran Lopez, P7 for Ice Cold. We then have Matthew Allington, P8 for Enterprise GP, and David Junt, P9 for Smile Power. Petter Carser starts P10 for Torrent, with Tom Parker P11 for Simcraft, Midnight Motorsports. Augustin Canapino starts P12 for Enterprise GP with that 9 kilogram weight penalty. John Weeks is 13th for Torrent with 18 kilograms of penalty. Jesper Thorberg is 14th with 27 kilograms of penalty. Ruud Heesbeek is 15th with 36 kilograms of penalty. And Chris Butcher, our race winner from race 1 of the season, is P16 with the full 45 kilograms worth of penalty. It'll be very interesting to see how much that truly affects him in the race. We now have Rob Mason, P17 for Cosmo, with Simon Melhuish, P18 for Motorsport Safety Foundation. Alex Cooper is P19 for Midnight Motorsports, with P20 being filled by Victor Silva for Lusitania Racing Team. Mike Bell is P21 for Mia Zurich, with Quinton Plain, P22 for TTF. Behind him is his teammate Tyron Frith, and Paul Watkins, the old man himself, unfortunately not in the points. This time was a real surprise front runner last year in WSS. Doesn't look like this may be the case this year, unfortunately. He starts P24. We then have an all drag racing row. Ascari Kantanen leading Ben Horrell, P25 and 26. Dimitri Demulmeister is P27 for Deltec, followed by Pedro Gomez for RTS in 28th. Gary Lennon, P29 for Aurora, Butcher's teammate, and Marius Van Wyck for Deltec in P30. Paul Joseph is P31 for TWR, with Ben Warren P32 in the Woods car. He's followed by his teammate Roy Schroten, another front runner. Sad to see him down there, P33. Benedictus Sinkevicius, the first of our retirements from last race, is P34 for Waters. William Tringus has entered the game for Racing Team Schroten, so he could potentially start from the pit lane. Oh, Menno Klontz had a bit of a spin. I do wonder whether he's missing his front wing or not. No, he's not missing his front bumper. Front bumper, James. He starts P36, and Sven de Vries, after blowing his engine, starts P37. So we have lost Lewis Polden. It seems his connection has finally fully conked out. And it's sad to see such a start to the season for SGP. And I noticed that Jonathan Provost isn't here as well, unfortunately. So some teams have good starts, some teams have bad. And SGP's just been one of the unlucky ones, unfortunately. So Sven de Vries, definitely one of the fastest men in the field. It will be interesting to see where he ends up at the end of this race. Lines up in his grid box now. You can see Mike Bell there in the background, in the middle of the field there, just junting out. You can see what position or what direction he's going to take on the start. Hoping to jump out to the left. We hope he doesn't get a wheel caught on the grass there on his left as well. But here we go. The lights come on. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5 lights for the final time here in Bahrain this year. We are racing, and it's a decent start by Kyle Williams. He's leading. He's leading, and oh, what a start from Cameron Brewster there on the inside. Look at him there. And is he going to lead? He is leading into turn 1. Oh, Cameron Brewster, what a lovely start by him. And is there any crashes further back? It all seems pretty nice and clean, actually. Yes, it does. Lovely. Much, much, much better than last race. But Cameron Brewster, what a lovely start from him. Leading from Riku Sarpia. David Junt already up into P3. He dives through on Carl Williams, as does Ilya Bracalo. He's up into P4. Carl Williams just getting absolutely swamped. Ryan Walker there. Oh, dear. Contact between him and Williams. Carl Walker's P6. Fran Lopez P7. Matthew Allington into P8. Petter Carser P9. Jordan Weeks P10. Oh, contact between Parker and Torborg. Torborg goes very, very wide. Comes back and oh, who was that flying off into the background? Is that Alex Cooper? Oh, yes, it is. No, it's not Alex Cooper. Who on earth was that then? It looks like a light blue car. I'm not too sure at all. By the way, he flew off into the distance. And I'm not sure. Oh, that's a crash! That is a crash. I heard that. And oh, I think we got an Enterprise involved in there. That's Canapino. Oh, who else was in there? Rude Heasterbeek was in there as well. Oh, and that is a real shame for those drivers. Let's see, what damage have we got there? Rude Heasterbeek has definitely got a puncture. Canapino actually seems to have come out of that relatively undamaged. But all the way down in P35. A disaster for the guy who finished P5 last race. And yeah, it was just a massive crash. I'm not sure how many of those guys came out with damage as well, unfortunately. Either way, we are coming down the last straight now, going into the last turn, and we have a very interesting sight before us. Leading the field is none other than the Bowser himself, Cameron Brewster, for Cosmo Autosport. He leads going on to lap 2 here. Riku Sarpia, who started P2, he is still P2, but he's under heavy attack from David Junt now, and David Junt will have to go around the outside. He's ahead on the straight. Can he get Sarpia around the outside into turn 1? He's going to try, and he has to fall in behind, unfortunately. Bracalo is P4. Carl Williams, P5, but under heavy attack from Fran Lopez. Ryan Walker then P7, under heavy attack from Matthew Allington. They're at it again, aren't they? And going into turn 4, let's keep with all these guys. Oh, and there's massive crash up there, back there as well. I can see they're going into turn 1 for sure. Carl Williams. Oh, Carl Williams is going to be overtaken by Fran Lopez, I think, into the fast left, right. And oh, what a lovely move from the young Spaniard there. Lovely stuff from Fran Lopez, and he is up into P5. But what these guys battling has done is it has really Constantinaed everyone together. You've got Carl Williams there, Ryan Walker looking on the inside of Carl Williams, Matthew Allington's there, Jordan Weeks there, and Tom Parker is there as well. Our race 1 winner, Chris Butcher, is into P11. Bart DeVos P2. Oh my word, look at all these cars coming down from P11. There are millions of them. And Augustin Canapino retires from the race, along with Rude Heasterbeek, Pedro Gomez as well. So all of those guys, Canapino and Heasterbeek, really strong runners out of this race already. And my word, that's a huge gaggle of cars behind Chris Butcher. And I do wonder whether he is actually holding them up potentially with his weight penalty. There's loads of them, isn't there? Going all over the place. Up at the front, David Junt has overtaken Riku Sarpia. We completely missed that, and he is now hounding the back of Cameron Brewster. And I'm thinking this may only go one way. Onto the home straight now. Cameron Brewster has done very, very well to lead a lap here of this race, and he will lead a full lap for Cosmo Autosport. And that should be congratulated for sure. The question is, how long will he be able to hold off the Switch driver, David Junt? I imagine not for long. He pulls out, but he doesn't seem to have the straight line speed advantage we were expecting. And heading into turn 1, oh, Cameron Brewster goes wide, and oh, there's a bit of contact there. David Junt holds on around the outside, and he's got the lead for Smile Power Racing. David Junt there. Lovely overtaking move, taking advantage of Cameron Brewster's slight mishandling of turn 1. Riku Sarpia is still there, P3 for Mia Zurich. And, oh wow, Bracalo under pressure from Fran Lopez, who's going to go through. Bit of contact there, but he's going to try and stick there as best he can, but Fran Lopez cannot do anything, unfortunately. And he's going to have to fall in behind the Belgian. The all-Belgian lineup of Triple 20, of course, with Bracalo and DeVos. DeVos currently in P13. But under heavy pressure is Bracalo here, and he's going to have to defend around Fran Lopez around the outside of turn 10. Fran Lopez desperately trying to get that sewn together, but nope, he can't make a move just yet. I've just been looking at movement down the order. Seems like Jordan Weeks and Tom Parker have got past Matthew Angton, who's down into P10. Chris Butcher is there in P11 and has started to pull away from Rob Mason, Bart DeVos, Tolberg, Meliwish, and all those other drivers. Sven de Vries, there was a driver we were interested in. Sven de Vries, who started at the very back of the grid after blowing his engine at the beginning of race 2, is battling for the last point, and indeed he does have the last point now. So a great effort from the lone Endonis engineering car in this race. He's just passed Simon Melhuish, and Sven will be happy with that, and I imagine it's only lap 3 of 12 here. I'm pretty sure he can get yet more points. But now, up at the front again, Cameron Brewster is under a bit of pressure from Riku Sarpia. And Fran Lopez as well, who has fully gotten past Kyle Williams in that time. Riku Sarpia in the slipstream. There really not much he could do there. It seems that Cameron Brewster's got a lower front wing than everyone else, and though that may harm him. Oh, and what's... Oh, he's Ilya Bracalo. Ilya Bracalo spun into turn 1. And, oh, he's lost his engine. So, Bracalo, our first engine retirement of the... of race 2 here. Going back to Riku Sarpia, though. Oh, is he going to take him around the outside of turn 4? Oh, what a lovely move from the Finn there. If he can hold it together. Oh, but he almost did a Magnussen moment in front of Cameron Brewster there. The lovely move. Sarpia up into P2 for Zurich Racing. And now Cameron Brewster apparently getting swamped. Fran Lopez is going to be hungry for a podium. And the young Spaniard is going to have to try and take him around the outside. Oh, he's really trying to cut across in there, leading on the Englishman, but he couldn't do anything. Carl Williams staying there in the background, and David Junt is just absolutely riding away in the distance there. And we've had a couple more retirements as well. Ascari Kantonen has retired from this race as well. So Drag Racing's start to the season goes from bad to worse, unfortunately. Let's see, yeah, Riku Sarpia pulling out a nice gap on Cameron Brewster now. Meanwhile, Fran Lopez, but he must have made a mistake somewhere, Fran, because he's fallen back into the clutches of Kyle Williams. Either that or Kyle can do that sector infinitely better. And oh, look at that in front as well. Cameron Brewster hassling Riku Sarpia. He must have made a mistake, and indeed he goes very, very wide. And oh, round she goes, and Riku Sarpia loses 3, 4 positions. In the case of Walcott, 5 positions, 6 positions. And Riku Sarpia, after starting P2, is going to be overtaken by Chris Butcher now, who moves his way up into the P9. Still in the top 10 though. And actually, look at Sven de Vries. He's up into P11. He's overtaken 4 cars on that lap alone. So a great effort from Sven de Vries from the back of the grid. A monster drive. He wanted me to call him a star this race. I will call him a star if he can get into the top 10. That's my challenge to you, sir. Meanwhile, though, let's have a look back here at the front. This is still exciting stuff. Cameron Brewster still in P2. And actually, oh, look in the background there. Jordan Weeks is through on Kyle Williams. So that Torrent is back up into P4. And a great start, or a great race here from Jordan Weeks, who is now equaling. Remember, he holds 18 kilograms of penalty on that car. Clearly not affecting him that much, though. And up to P4 he goes. Fran Lopez, though, he's right on the back of Cameron Brewster. Much better exit out of turn 4. And around the outside at the left-right. Oh, Fran Lopez is doing himself justice here today. Up into P2 is the young Spaniard, though Cameron Brewster's still in P3. I imagine that won't last long, though, because right behind him you can see there Jordan Weeks, Kyle Williams, Tom Parker, Ryan Walker, Matthew Allington, all wanting a piece of the action. And it is only lap 5 of 12 here in this WSS race. And oh yeah, you can just see Cameron Brewster is losing buckets of time now. I still think as long as he doesn't lose it in the next few laps, he'll be able to get a good, decent points position out of this race. But the question is, how far down the order will he plummet? I unfortunately think he may yet. Let's optimistically say top 10 for Cameron Brewster. It'd be nice to see him up there for sure. Lovely for Cosmo Autosport as well. And who's that going wide? That is no one of interest. That is a back marker. Benedictus Incubitious, I think, again, unfortunately. Yeah, Cameron Brewster. Let's see what happens to him on the home straight now. I mean, behind him, not much really going on. They're all going line astern. And onto the home straight now. Let's see if Jordan Weeks can take the podium. That'd be an exciting race for Jordan Weeks, wouldn't it? Finishing higher than he finished in race 1 from a lower starting position. Just shows what the race can do, and the weight penalty's clearly not affecting him too much. He sticks in the slipstream. He pulls out now, and is he going to have a time to turn 1? No, I didn't think he would. But staying nice behind, and oh, Ben Horrell has left. So Drake Racing double retirement in race 2. Their season has not got off to a good start whatsoever, has it? And nevertheless, Cameron Brewster doing a top job, really, to hold off Jordan Weeks so far. We're on lap 6 here of 12, about halfway through this race, and Cameron Brewster really hugging turn 4. Did you see that? Absolutely staying as close as he could to that wall as you would your girlfriend. And he's just putting his car in all the right places. He's absolutely doing a great stand-up job. And Jordan Weeks is going to have to try very hard to get past Bruce. He's going to try around the outside here of turn 8. So there's nothing doing once again. And he's going to have to be careful because look behind him now. Carl Williams, Tom Parker, Ryan Walker, Matthew Allington, they have all caught up to him because he's being held up here by Brewster. And that could lead to a detrimental effect not only on himself but potentially on the other drivers in this. What is his cinquet? A sextet? Is it a cinquet possibly? Oh, here we go, Jordan Weeks, sorry. Inside of turn 11. He's going to have to go around the outside though, and there's nothing really doing. A bit of contact with Brewster on the rear end, and here comes Carl Williams steaming up the inside here. He's seen a gap. He's going to take it. And, oh, he got squeezed to the curb, and Jordan Weeks was very lucky to keep that. But you can just see what effect a slow car can have on you. And look at Carl Williams now. He's been disadvantaged by that move he made on Jordan Weeks. So, Tom Parker looking at the inside of Carl Williams into the final turn. He dives through. Lovely move from Tom Parker. Oh, Carl Williams. He got it. Oh, Carl Williams. Yeah, he's gone. He is off the track there. Behind Matthew Allington. Where is Chris Butcher? I reckon Chris Butcher might get the Englishman here. And our pole man, though he is still in the points, is, yep, he's going to be absolutely swamped here by Chris Butcher. Chris Butcher, sorry. Carl Williams is going to be overtaken by Riku Sarpia as well. And is Sven de Vries going to have his say? No, he isn't, because Riku Sarpia, so slow was he on the apex that he couldn't actually get past Williams. So, Chris Butcher up into 8th. Matthew Allington up into 7th. Benedictus Sinkevicius, another retirement from our race, unfortunately. And Jordan Weeks is past Cameron Brewster. I believe that might have been into turn 1. And now Cameron Brewster has got Mr. Tom Parker on his tail for P4 and 5. Their close friends are Brewster and Parker. And I don't think Parker's going to be trying something too harsh on his friend here. But the deal should be done in the next few laps on lap 7 of 12 here. Only 5 more to go. Gap at the front between always Parker. No, Parker's not having a go. Gap at the front, David jumped 4.6 seconds from Fran Lopez, who's just been an absolute brilliant driver here today. Absolutely great drive. And Riku Sarpia is the exponent. So Sven de Vries is up into the top 10. Sven de Vries, you are a star. Just keep it there now. Yeah, Fran Lopez, what a wonderful drive from him. Solidly in P2, John Weeks P3. Tom Parker is past Cameron Brewster into P4, must have gone on the straight or on the exit of turn 9. Ryan Walker P6. Chris Butcher's just overtaken Matthew Allington for P7 and 8 there. And Matthew Allington going a little bit wide. He's going to have to keep that car a bit more in check. Kyle Williams P9 and under heavy pressure from Sven de Vries there in P10. And Sven de Vries going to take it here. Sven de Vries does. He's got a much, much better exit. And into P9. The American goes, and I reckon he's going to find his way past Matthew Allington as well. Such is his speed. Let's keep with this battle now, unless Carl Williams can make some sort of a comeback. Keep an eye out for Bart DeVos there. Currently in P11. Yes, Sven de Vries, he tucks up under the rear wing of Matthew Allington, who's gone ultra defensive. And you can see he's gone right to the pit wall as the Englishman. And heading into turn 1. He's ahead on the straight is Sven de Vries. And, it's so close. And has he got the inside? Yes, he does. So up into P8 goes Sven de Vries. And, Matthew Allington might get swamped here by Kyle Williams, who had a bit of a better exit, I think, as well. Look at Bart DeVos there, trying to get his muttons up in the middle. Kyle Williams ahead on the straight at turn 4. Matthew Allington's going to defend. But I think Kyle Williams may potentially have this going to the left, right. Yeah, Carl Williams. Does he just about have that? No, Matthew Allington's still on the inside. Good defense. Carl Williams still on the inside, though. Great battle for the bottom of the top 10 here. And, ever so tight stuff. But, yeah, Matthew Allington just about holds that, though I imagine that... Carl Williams, he's going to try around the outside of turn 9 into 10 here. Would be very impressive, but no, he doesn't get it. It's lap 8 of 12 here, and I think Matthew Allington's going to be pretty hard done by to keep P9, to be honest. Because Carl Williams is looking like the faster driver, unfortunately. Here he goes again. Looking up the inside of turn 11. And he's going to have to try around the outside. He is going to try around the outside, isn't he? Can he make it stick around the outside, though? This will be a very impressive move if he can. And yes, he is going to do it. Well done, Carl Williams. What a lovely move that was. And, my word! Bart DeVos, that was a good save from him. Alex Cooper retires. What an awful, awful start to the season he has had. Terrible start. And he's retired. No, we haven't had any other retirements apart from him and in the last few laps, actually. So, decent stuff from everyone else, it must be said. Yes, for Torborg, though. Talking of the devil, up into P11. You can see he's missing a front bumper as well. He got caught in that carnage. And he's up into P11. And I reckon the speed differential between him and Allington will see him rise up into P10 before sooner or later. Gap up at the front is extended to 6.6 seconds between David Junt and Fran Lopez. The gap between Fran Lopez and his friends in P3 and 4, though, has dramatically shortened. Jordan Weeks and Tom Parker right on the back of Lopez. And I'm sure that Lopez is going to be fighting for all he's worth to secure a podium for Ice Cold here this race. But Jordan Weeks and Tom Parker are known drivers here in the WSS. They've had a good year and a bit's experience in this series. And even with the change in mod, they are still looking mighty, mighty strong. I would imagine that they're going to be able to have a look for that P2, and indeed P3 as it will be, in the next few laps. Cameron Brewster, still in P5 actually. Great start to the season from the English driver and for Cosmo Autosport, who'll be pretty high up in the Teams Championship. Ryan Walker, P6, Chris Butcher, P7, Sven de Vries, P8, Carl Williams, P9, Matthew Anton still holding on in P10, and Bart de Vos is P11, and keeping Jesper Torborg behind. That's going to be helping out Allington and Williams, both of them, by providing a challenge to the TPS All-Star. Jesper making it rather easy into turn 11, actually, must be said, though. I think... here we go. De Vos on the inside. He's going to try and get him. And I think the problem with Torborg, of course, is that he's not only got weight, but he's missing that front bumper as well. And that's going to be causing huge, huge problems to his front downforce. He's going to be understeering like crazy. And they're still side by side going on to the final straight before the home straight here. They are literally side by side, and Torborg's going to have the inside line here into the final turn. But of course, Bart de Vos is going to have the slipstream, and let's have a look further up the road. Oh, here we go. Oh, bit of wheel banging between Jordan Weeks and Fran Lopez, and going into turn 1. Fran Lopez cuts across, but goes wide. He goes wide. Oh, contact! Contact between the two, and that was a bit rude of Fran, actually. Just came right across Jordan Weeks, and that's going to seriously disadvantage him in respect to Tom Parker, who's right on the rear wing. Jordan Weeks goes defensive, and into turn 4 we go. Tom Parker can't do anything. Jordan Weeks hold on to P3. That was a bit rude of Fran Lopez, must be said. Just cut across like him, like that. Let's see, Cameron Brewster, you can see evidently Ryan Walker's catching up. Chris Butcher's got Sven de Vries all over that rear wing as well. Really over the back. And it should be, and here we go, Sven de Vries on the move. Oh, he goes deep though, and Chris Butcher takes the position back. The difference between these two cars, 45 kilograms of penalty weight. And that is making an impact. Oh, Fran Lopez! Oh, Fran Lopez, he's falling down the order. He must have gone wide at turn 9-10. And he's not only fallen behind Jordan Weeks and Tom Parker, he's fallen behind Cameron Brewster and Ryan Walker as well. So Fran down into P6. Though he is right behind Ryan, must be said. And is he going to make a dive up into turn 11? He is, and he's going to slide through on the Scotsman. And so back up into P5 for Cameron Brewster. He's, wow, looking at 13 points here for Cosmo Autosport. Fantastic effort. Brilliant, brilliant effort. And oh, Tom Parker's actually ahead of Jordan Weeks as well. So Tom Parker, good effort. And oh, what's happened to Chris Butcher? He has been overtaken by Sven de Vries. This was a move we were expecting. So Sven de Vries ahead of Chris Butcher now. Into P7 he is. Matthew Allington once again really in his own space, and Jesper Torborg has got past Bart de Vos, so can really start to make an impact on the Englishman's 10th place there. Your other point scorers, it should be said: Petter Karsa, P13 for Torrent, Roy Schroten, P14 for Woods, and Riku Sarpia, who started on the front row, is still P15. He's where he was last race. He's got Paul Watkins in very close pursuit, and he could lose that 1 point very, very soon. The gap at the front, though, is now 9 seconds, and I think unless David Junt makes a big, big mistake, then he's got this one securely in the bag. Fran Lopez, look how much he's actually, is he being able to pull away? I think it's Ryan Walker who's more under pressure from Sven de Vries. That American has just been on an absolute charge all race. And he's looking in the barrel of 10 and potentially 11 points to kick off his championship, of course. And if he was to get into 5th, then that would bring him level with Agustin Canapino, who of course retired very early on in this race. I don't have any idea who's where and what in... Oh, Ryan Walker is through. Ryan Walker's through on Fran Lopez, actually. And look at Sven de Vries here. He's going to try and look to make a move. Oh, he's going to... Oh, what a lovely switch to the inside. And oh, contact! Contact between the two, but Sven de Vries was there. He kind of took the inside line. And Fran Lopez down to P7. Here comes Chris Butcher now. And you can just see this is how close the field is. One wrong move, and you're going to suffer for it. And Chris Butcher very nearly gets a move done into turn 11. Carl Williams still P9. And you can see there, Jesper Torborg is still P11. And he is certainly closed up on Matthew Allington, who's looking a bit dodgy on those tyres. Behind Jesper is Bart the Boss, and he's quite a bit behind. So I think if Jesper does overtake... if Jesper does... Oh, Matthew Allington goes very wide there. That should be position gain for Torborg. Yeah, it should absolutely be. So if Torborg, he is going to overtake Matthew Allington. Matthew Allington should still be safe in that 11th place, I'd imagine. Who knows, he could yet re-overtake Torborg. As we're on the final lap now, David Junt is on the final lap. And it's been a fantastic race for the Swiss driver. 9.3 seconds is the gap from Jordan Weeks. Tom Parker looking on the inside of Jordan Weeks. So these two have switched positions since we came to them last. But Parker threw on the inside once again. A bit of contact between the two. But Parker has it. Cameron Brewster, P4, has driven an outstanding race. Outstanding. And he should be absolutely commended for what he has done. Ryan Walker is still battling with Fran Lopez. Fran Lopez, oh my word, looking on the inside here. He's going all over the track. He's trying to find every way past Ryan Walker he can. And looking into turn 4 now. Ryan Walker is able to hold it. We'll see whether Fran gets a better drive out, though. I don't think he does, really. And he's going to fall in behind. Chris Butcher staying in P7. Sven de Vries P8. Carl Williams P9. Jesper Torborg P10. But he's under heavy attack from Matthew Allington. He's going to try and go around the outside. The Englishman can't do anything, though. And Bart de Vos is... Oh, what's happening there? Oh, Fran Lopez is trying to have a look on Ryan Walker. Look at this. The battle is still heating up between these two. And going into... This is such a tricky corner. It's turn 9 into turn 10. Fran Lopez has to get it stop in time. Oh, contact between himself and Chris Butcher, who... Sneaky squirrel, he got himself through there. And Chris Butcher's through into P6. Fran Lopez P7. Then Reeves P8. Carl Williams, P9. Jesper Torborg P10. And Matthew Allington's now under attack from Bart de Vos in P11. There's a switch up at the front as well. Tom Parker is still in P2. Matthew Allington, no. Oh, contact between himself and Bart de Vos. And Matthew Allington is round. Oh, and Bart de Vos just blocked off Matthew Allington as well. Matthew Allington down into P13. I think he's going to lose a couple more positions before the end as well there. But coming home then is David Junt for Smile Power Racing. A fantastic start to the season for him. 10 seconds was the lead. Wonderful start to the season for David Junt. Really, really good. Jordan Weeks is back ahead. He's back ahead of Tom Parker. And Jordan Weeks is going to take P2 here for Tom Motorsports. Tom Parker P3. Cosmo Autosport must be so pleased with Cameron Brewster P4. That's his highest result in anything in a long, long time. Ryan Walker P5. Chris Butcher P6. Fran Lopez P7. Sven de Vries P8. Carl Williams P9. Jesper Torborg P10. Peter Carson P11. Roy Schroten P12. Just ahead of Matthew Allington P13. Rob Mason got more points for Cosmo Autosport. Paul Watkins did score that final point for TWR, and Bart de Vos after that needless contact with Matthew Allington finishes outside of the points ultimately. Your final retirees were Alex Cooper, Benedicta Sinkevicius, Ben Horrell, Ilya Bracalo, Ascari Cantonen, Agustin Canapino, Pedro Gomez, and Ruud Heesterbeek. And so, my word, that was absolute carnage in both races. There are massive incidents in both, just at different parts of the track. If I am thinking straight here, I would think that it's probably going to be Chris Butcher who's leading the championship on 35 points. Jordan Weeks would have scored 13 points, Toby on 33. So I think it is Chris Butcher who leads the championship on 35 points from Jordan Weeks on 33. My team believes. Teams Championship, don't get me started on that. I have no idea what's going on there. But yeah, fantastic opening to the season. Hopefully we can get some of the contact issues sorted out, because there were some naughty people there. But, well, that's for the stewards to decide, and indeed is for the drivers to protest. So yeah, what more can you say? A great start to the season. Hopefully we'll have some interviewees in a second. Right then, so let's have a little look here, see whether any of you have tweeted in with a question. I certainly hope so. I like those questions. Mike Rosen says, it's it's Measuric, like measuring. Okay, I always thought it was Mia Zurich. I thought I got it wrong the first time. It is Measuric, so apologies there. Ben Heckerson predicting Carser to win. Well, obviously Carser didn't win, did he? You're wrong. But I think nobody really expected David Young to win of all the people. You know, it was a great result for the Switch driver, and I think Smile Power is going to be in with a good shout of actually leading the championship at this rate. I don't know. We'll see anyway. What's the other hashtag we tried? WSS, wasn't it? No round one. No questions. That's sad. That's very sad. You should definitely come in and, you know, speak to us more. Speak to us more. You know, we like you. We like user participating in anything. Okay, actually, let's get started with someone who wasn't necessarily on the podium, but I think absolutely deserves to be in the commentary box here because of the fantastic race he run. Cameron Brewster. I don't think Cosmo Autosport could have seriously gotten their life as a team up to a better start. 13 points in the bag. I would think definitely in the top 10 of the team's championship. What a fantastic round for you and the team.
I'm absolutely knackered. No, it's thoroughly enjoyed my first two races for Cosmo, and chuffed to bits that I got the team's first top 5 apparently, according to Mr. Anderson, and the first points in the first race. But massive respect to Rob as well. I mean, first race didn't go all his own way. I think he got spun. Well, I got spun as well, but never gave up, and he kept going, and he managed to get points in race 2. So no, it's been a pleasure racing for Cosmo, and I'm so glad that we could get a double points finish in race 2.
I think the really positive thing for you is that you looked seriously confident up at the front. It didn't look like you were out of place, necessarily. We saw Fran Lopez sort of dive up into P2, but then he sort of lost it again, and we saw Riku Sarpia qualify. Or he didn't qualify, sorry. He was on the front row for the reverse grid, fell all the way back. We're looking at 9 further rounds of this WSS Championship. This has been a great start. Do you think you can bring that confidence to future races now after such a great result?
I've never felt so good after a sim race. The last time I felt this good was after the Masters at Simmons Plains. But I'm full of confidence, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the series holds.
And so you should be. A fantastic start for Cosmo. Thank you very much for joining us, Cam.
No problem.
Right then, let's get to the podium people now. We've got Chris Butcher. If my quick maths is to be believed, I think you lead the championship 2 points from Jordan Weeks. First win of the season was great, but I'm really interested to know how difficult it was to race in race 2 with the full 45 kilograms worth of weight. How much did that hinder your progress through the field?
It felt like I was driving a tank around the track. It wasn't so bad in the corners, to be honest. It was more in the straights that I was hurting, really. Bit more understeer into the turns, but I could deal with that. But it was just the loss of speed down the straight that was killing me, really. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was difficult to battle with other people, but I just picked my way through when people made mistakes, and I did the best I could, and I think I can be happy with 6th from 16th with full weight.
Yeah, absolutely. And considering this is the first race of the year, it gave a pretty good indicator of where everyone is on pace, or so we thought. We saw people qualifying our position everywhere. Do you think you'll be able to maintain this speed throughout the rest of the races of the season? Have you had a look at the calendar, and do you think, I mean, looking at your teammate Gary Lennon's progress throughout the 2 races, we imagine you're going to be the main point scorer here, potentially getting some more wins is on the cards. You know, where you're aiming for in the Teams and Drivers Championship?
Gary's had a bad race, to be fair. He got involved in a lot of incidents, but you know, he's got decent pace. He'll get decent results through the rest of the season, I think. As for me, I've got quite a lot of experience in these cars. I would be disappointed if I wasn't in the top 3 at the end of the championship, I think. Definitely some more race wins on the cards, and we'll see where it goes from there, I guess.
Setting the bar high, and we certainly hope to see you fulfill that bar setting next time out at the Circuit de Catalunya. Thank you for joining us, Chris.
Thank you.
And now we have Mr. David Yunt. A race win for Smile, and not from the Smile we were expecting, not to be rude to you or anything, but that was a brilliant race from you, and a 10-second gap to the next car down the road was really dominant.
It was just 9 points when I can recall that from the
Oh, really? Oh, my apologies.
Oh, well, I think race 1 was about where with myself right now, because I do like the Porsche, I like the sound, the looks of it, but it has a bit of handling things that are a bit hard to take, because I feel like understeer into the corner, and then when you, lock into the corner, you have too much, and then you make a spin out of it. But yeah, start, first race, that was okay. And then in the middle, I noticed when I was past Allington and settled for 8, I knew I couldn't go much further, because I think I had the wrong setup, and I was running away with a rear wing on 8, and that was too high. So, the guys ahead of me were just too fast and straight, and I thought, take 8. And everything in race 2 was just down to the great start I had. I had perfect, I thought I found the perfect line through the field, and I was third after 4 corners, I think. And it was just then a matter of time to pace myself, not to lose the positions I lost when I was, say, racing Formula Challenge, because it could have been higher there. But this time, I kept the car on the road, past Riku, and then set off to Cameron, and I was a bit asking myself a bit too hard at the first turn, because he overshot. I went to the inside, and I think I was a bit mean to him, but I was clearly showing I'm gonna take that first position now and not later. So yeah, I took it, and then I just thought about extending it, getting away before any of the fast guys would come through. Never really happened. My pace was okay. I even managed to get enough confidence to put in laps that gave me the fastest lap of the race, even though it was just shy of 1:59. But yeah, I couldn't expect that from the pace before, so I say I'm really happy crossing the line when I was first, and really great, awesome course, great result for Smile Power Racing.
A nice and positive surprise, wasn't it? And actually, I think that does mean that Smile Power lead the team's championship, and especially given that the favourites coming into it really were Smile, Adonis, and Torrent. Torrent have had a decent round, not a great round. Adonis have had a disastrous round, with one driver at least dropping out of both races. Smile Power finished all 2 races in the points, and yes, just a really positive start for you. Is the team's championship pretty much where you're aiming for as a team?
I guess so. After I was talking to Mike Bell, and then vastly knowing I would go race with Jesper, and I thought, okay, Jesper would be probably lead driver and get most wins, and I think we can expect much more of him, and even more wins, because I know he does well in this car, because I've seen it. And I guess after that, this first rounds now, I would say we're definitely looking good to have a say in the hunt for the team championship, and I think we can really look forward to a good battle with the other teams for it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for joining us, David. And finally, we have Tom Parker. Now, I will admit, Tom, I was a bit surprised to see both Midnights outside of the top 10. It was really... Well, it was pretty weird, considering that you won the 2013 Teams Championship in such style. Thankfully, though, your driving managed to get yourself a podium in race 2, decent points finish in race 1. Unfortunately, your teammate Alex Cooper, second last year, just had no luck whatsoever, did they? So not exactly the best start to the season for you guys.
No, Alex is a bit unlucky, but yeah, I can't. Sorry, I'm spraying deodorant. I can't, for some reason, I can't get the braking sorted on the quad. In the race, I was like dive bombing people left, right, and centre purely by accident, because I can't seem to get the hang of the brakes at the moment. But Yeah, I'd take third. I mean, race 1 was nice. I had a nice battle with Petra and Augustine. If I was a bit more aggressive, I think I could have got fifth. But yes, and then race 2, I had a good race with Jordan again, and then I had it, but ballsed up right at the end. Just hard to seem to not like it at the end of the stint. But yeah, no, I'll have 6th and 3rd. I didn't think I was going to be top 10, so quite happy.
Should be indeed. And on Midnight's aims, was the aim coming into this to retain your title? Because, I mean, I understand why that would be the case. Of course, you have Teams Championship and everything. But, I mean, the field has just gotten exponentially stronger than last year. And you say yourself you weren't expecting to really be top 10. Is there perhaps a bit of a subduement in the Midnight camp? Or are you still absolutely aiming for as high as you can go, say, podiums or whatnot?
Well, obviously, aiming as high as possible should be everyone's aim. But, it's difficult. Well, I was talking to Dave and Alex before we got started. We were thinking, well, I mean, no offense to last year, but last year's field was a bit here to tame. Shall we? Like I said,
I think I'd agree, Tom. I think I'd agree. But we're going to Spain next, Circuit de Catalunya. Is that a track you are particularly happy with, or do you think you'll be able to extract some more pace there?
If I can sort of breaking out, yeah. But what I'll do, like I do at Barcelona every time, I'll qualify really well, and then either have a start crash, or I will crash out. So
no.
I love Barcelona, but
you're going to do fine. You're going to do fine. Don't worry. There's no issues here. Well, thank you anyway for joining us, Tom. Well done on your podium.
Thank you.
That about rounds it up here. From the first round of Bahrain, I'll see whether I can buy myself a commentator for next round. But we have Smile leading the Teams Championship. We have Chris Butcher for Aurora Motorsports leading the Drivers Championship. How long that will last, though, we don't know. We had quite a few big retirements from both races here today in Bahrain. And only time will tell over the next rounds whether that will switch around. My name's been James Kirk. Thank you very much to my cameraman for this evening, Dave Carsmith. We'll see you in 2 weeks. And from both of us here, it's been a very warm goodbye.